The Competition Act 2002. This is very important chapter. Under this chapter, we are going to cover the important definitions which are defined under the Competition Act 2002. Here we are going to study about a regulatory body called Competition Commission of India, who regulates and promotes the healthy competition in India. And here we are going to discuss some agreements which are prohibited in India. So what do you mean by competition? Competition means a situation in the market where two sellers strive to get support from the buyer to fulfill their business objective. Here, two sellers are putting their effort to obtain the support from the buyer to fulfill their business objective. So, is competition good or bad for the economic growth? So there is a positive relation between a competition and economic growth. Competition always motivates productivity, efficiency, which leads to economic growth. So healthy competition is the backbone of the economic policy. So the main objective of Competition Act 2002 is to promote healthy competition, to protect the interest of consumers and traders, and the main objective is to develop the country's economy. So this is all about the Competition Act 2002. Let's move to the next slide. Important definitions under the Companies Act 2002. Let us discuss all the important definitions which are defined under the Competition Act 2002. The first one is acquisition. Acquisition means directly or indirectly acquiring or agreeing to acquire shares, voting rights or assets of any enterprise, or control over management or control over assets of any enterprise. So acquisition means acquiring of three things. The first one, shares, voting rights or assets, or control over management of any enterprise. So three important words to remember here. The first one is shares, voting rights, and the second one is assets. The third one is control over management of any enterprise. Then the next definition is about agreement. Agreement includes any arrangement or understanding or action in concert. Whether or not such arrangement, understanding or action is formal or in writing, or whether or not such arrangement, understanding or action is intended to be enforceable by legal proceedings. So here again three important keywords to be remembered. The first one is arrangement. The second word is understanding, and the third word is action. So arrangements made by the group of people, or understanding between the group of people, or action taken together to achieve same goal. Here under Competition Act, agreement is made relating to production, supply, distribution, storage, acquisition or control of goods or services. Let's take an example. A group of airlines companies entered into an understanding to fix price at certain level, and they further agreed not to compete with each other. So here group of companies are making an agreement. The agreement can be in written or in oral, or it can be enforceable by law, or it cannot be enforceable by law. Here enforceable by law means if any party breaks the agreement, the other parties can go to court or cannot go to the court. Then the third one is appellate tribunal. So appellate tribunal is a court that hears appeals. So the appellate tribunal known as Competition Appellate Tribunal, which is established by the central government under subsection 1 of section 53A. So this you need to remember, subsection 1 of section 53A. This is established, this tribunal, appellate tribunal, is established by the central government, and this is known as a competition appellate tribunal, and this is established under subsection 1 of section 53A. Then the next definition is cartel. So cartel includes an association of producers, sellers, distributors, trade or service providers who by agreement amongst themselves limits, control or attempt to control the production, distribution, sale or price of or trade in goods or provision of services. There are important words to be remembered. The first one is association, and the second one is limit, control or attempt to control. So here association is formed between producers, sellers, distributors, traders, service providers to limit, control or attempt to control the production, distribution, sale or price. So as we discussed, a group of airline company formed to fix the price at certain level. Then the next definition is about chairperson. Chairperson means the chairperson of the commission appointed under subsection 1 of section 8. So this you need to remember, subsection 1 of section 8. The next definition is about commission. So commission means the Competition Commission of India established under subsection 1 of section 7. So the Competition Commission of India is a regulatory body which is established under subsection 1 of section 7. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's move on to the next definition, that is consumer. Here consumer who buys goods are defined in part 1. The consumer who avails or hires any services are defined in the part 2. We'll break this whole definition into the part just for understanding better. The first point is the consumer is a person. Okay. Then the second point is the consumer who buys goods for consideration. Then the third point is consideration includes 4 things. It can be paid at the time of buying, or credit purchase, or partly paid at the time of purchasing and partly on credit, or under deferred payment. So here consideration includes 4 things: paid. Paid means cash payment, or promised means credit purchase. Okay. Then the third is partly paid and partly promised. Half paid in cash and half on credit basis. Then the fourth is deferred payment. Here deferred payment means a payment made through installments. So the third point is about the consideration includes the 4 things. The one is cash payment, the other one is cash credit payment, the third one is partly cash and partly credit, and the fourth one is installment payment. Then the fourth point is about the user of the goods is also included in the consumer definition. Okay. So here the user of the goods is also come under the definition of consumer. Let's take an example. Here A is a person who bought chocolate. He paid consideration, but he couldn't eat it. His friend B ate the chocolate. So here B is also included in the consumer definition because B is the user of the goods. Okay, hope you got this. Then it says other than the person who buys such goods for consideration paid or promised or partly paid and partly promised or under any system of deferred payment. Here it means a person other than who paid consideration is also a consumer. Ultimately it means the user of the goods is also a consumer. Then the fifth point says that the goods purchased by the consumer can be used for commercial purpose, personal purpose or resale purpose. So the fifth point says about the goods which is purchased by the consumer is for resale, commercial purpose or personal use. So let's repeat all the points one more time. A consumer is a person. Then the second point says who buys goods for the consideration, and here consideration includes four things. One is cash payment, credit payment, partly cash payment and partly credit payment or installment payment. And the fourth point says that the user of goods is also come under the consumer definition. And the fifth point says that the goods purchased can be used for commercial purpose, resale purpose or personal purpose. So this is all about consumer definition. Consumer definition when he buys goods. Let's see when he avails any services. Uh, Under part 2, the definition is same but only some words are replaced. We'll break this definition also in part. So the first part is consumer is a person. Then the second point is who avails service for consideration. So the first point is the consumer is a person. Then the second point is the consumer who avails service for consideration. And the third point says the consideration includes again four things. One is cash payment or credit payment or cash and credit payment or deferred payment. So cash payment, cash payment, credit payment, partly cash and partly credit payment or installment basis or payment made through installments. So the consideration includes here again four things. And the fourth point says that beneficiary of services is also come under definition of consumer. So the beneficiary, any beneficiary of such services is also a part of consumer's definition. Here beneficiary means, let's understand this with an example. Your parents are paying for college fees and you are the beneficiary of the services. You people are getting service from the college. So in consumer definition, you as a beneficiary and your parents are included. Then the fifth point says that a consumer who availed service is for commercial purpose or personal purpose. So here resale purpose was taken out because services cannot be resale. So the services which are availed is for commercial purpose or personal purpose. So let's repeat all the points one more time. A consumer is a person. Then the second point, who avails service for consideration. Then the third point, the consideration again includes four things. One is cash payment or credit payment, or cash and credit payment or deferred payment. And the fourth point says the beneficiary of services is also come under definition of consumer. And fifth point says a consumer who availed service is for commercial purpose or personal purpose. So this is all about the consumer definition. Let's move on to the next slide. The next definition is about enterprise. Let's break this big definition into three parts. The first one is enterprise is a person or a government department. So here person includes individual, firms, companies, body of association or local authority. Then the next part is enterprise must be engaged in production, storage, supply, distribution, acquisition or control of articles or goods, provision of services, and enterprise who makes investment, buying, selling, underwriting or dealing with shares, debentures directly or indirectly. So in short, enterprise means who deals any of the above activity. So the next point is the enterprise must engage in any activity. Then the third part is government department is not treated as enterprise where government is discharging sovereign function. So here sovereign functions are those actions which are taken exclusively by government. Let's say income tax. Income tax has to be collected only by the government. That is sovereign function of the government. So the government department is not treated as enterprise when government is discharging his sovereign function. So these three parts will make whole definition. So the first part is the government means a person or a government department. Enterprise who deals any of the activity which we already discussed. So that is the second part. And the third part, the government department is not treated as enterprise when it is doing his sovereign activity. So these are the three important parts which makes the whole definition. Then the second definition is about goods. Goods means as defined in the Sale of Goods Act 1930, and it includes product manufactured, processed or mined, debentures, stocks and shares but after allotment. Remember this point. Then in relation to goods supplied, distributed or controlled in India, goods imported into India. So imported goods are also comes under the goods definition. So the next slide is about some more definitions. Let's see the next definition, person. Here person includes an individual, HUF, a company, firm, association of person, body of individual, whether incorporated or in India or outside India. Then any corporation which are established under state, central or a special act, or a government company will also come under the definition of person. So government company which are defined in section 617 of Companies Act 1956, and a body corporate incorporated in India or outside India under the laws of a country, and it includes a person includes a cooperative society which are registered under Cooperative Societies Act, and a local authority. Every artificial judicial person will come under the definition of person. Then the next one is price. Price in relation to the sale of any goods or to the performance of any service includes every valuable consideration, whether direct or indirect or deferred, and includes any consideration which in effect relates to the sale of any goods or to the performance of any services although ostensibly relating to any other matter or things. Here it means ostensibly means which is stated to be true. So price means a valuable consideration which is fixed against goods and services. So the next definition is let's move on to the next definition. So these three are very important definitions because we are going to use this in further discussion. The one is relevant market, the other one is relevant geographic market, and the other one, the next one is relevant product market. So here the main objective of Competition Act is to preserve and promote healthy competition and prevent anti-competitive business practices with minimal government intervention to investigate anti-competition behavior in the market. So the Competition Commission of India consider the relevant market with reference to the relevant product market or relevant geographic market or reference to both the market. So here we are talking about the competition which is affecting the particular market. So that particular market is called a relevant market where the competition is affecting. So let's see the definition. Relevant market means the market which may be determined by the commission with reference to the relevant product market or the relevant geographic market or with reference to both the market. So here CCI means Competition Commission of India investigates anti-competitive behavior with reference to relevant market. And this market further divided into two market, that is relevant geographic market and the relevant product market. So let's move on to the next definition. Relevant geographic market means a market comprising the area in which the condition of competition for supply of goods or provision of services or demand of goods or services are distinctly homogeneous and can be distinguished from the condition prevailing in neighboring areas. So let's say there are two markets in different place. One is branded market, the other one is unbranded market, where you find a lot of product at reasonable price. If the seller made an agreement in branded market, the competition is going to affect in the branded market, not in unbranded market. Here on the basis of demand and supply, the markets are distinguished. So this is an example of relevant geographic market. The next definition is relevant product market means a market comprising all the products or services which are regarded as interchangeable or substitutable by the consumer by reason of characteristics of the product or services, their prices and intended use. So here a relevant product market where goods and services are interchangeable by the consumer on the basis of characteristics of the product or services, on the basis of price, on the basis of usage. So let's take an example for this too. Let's say a car manufacturer in India made an agreement not to compete with each other. Here the competition is going to affect the car market. So the car market is a relevant product market because whatever agreement they are making, that is going to affect that car market, not other market. So that is the example of relevant product market. Let's see the next definition, services. Service means service of any description which is made available to potential users. Here potential users means both the users who are already availing services and who are going to avail the services in the future, and includes the provision of services in connection with business of any industrial or commercial matters such as banking, communication, education, financing, insurance, chit funds, real estate, transport, storage, material treatment, processing, supply of electrical or other energy, boarding, lodging, entertainment, amusement, construction, repair, conveying of news or information, and advertising. So here this part, so from here to here, I'm so sorry. So from here to here, it is inclusive part. So these are all included in the services. This is the definition about services. First, it talks about the potential users, and the next part is about inclusive part. Uh, let's see the next part. The next topic is prohibition of certain agreements. Any prohibition on agreements are called anti-competitive agreements. So let's see the first subsection of this. The first subsection says that no enterprise or association of enterprises or persons or association of persons shall enter into any agreement in respect of production, supply, distribution, storage, acquisition or control of goods or provision of services which causes or is likely to cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition within India. In clear term, it says not to make any agreement which cause an appreciable adverse effect, okay, which cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition. So here appreciable means how much and how far that agreement is affecting on competition. It is an estimation of effect which is going to decide by CCI. CCI means Competition Commission of India, that is regulatory body. And the next subsection says that any agreement made in contravention of the provision contained in subsection 1 shall be void. In subsection 1, it says that not to make such agreement which is going to cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition. Even if agreements are made, those agreements are treated as void. Okay, then the next subsection 3 says that, so subsection 1 says not to make such type of agreement which cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition, and second subsection says that subsection 2 says that even if agreements are made, those agreements are treated as void. Let's see what subsection 3 says. Any agreement entered into between enterprises. Here enterprises means between two business houses or association of enterprises. Agreement between association of enterprises. Let's say here association of enterprises means a car manufacturers, or persons, or association of persons, or between any person and enterprises. An agreement between person and enterprise, or practicing carried on or decision taken by any association of enterprises or association of person. So any arrangements or decision taken together, including cartels, So you all know what is cartel means. It is an association between group of enterprises who are engaged in similar goods and services. So that is called cartels. Engaged in identical or similar trade of goods or provision of services. Yes. So which the first one directly or indirectly determine the price or sale price. So here they are getting into an agreement which is directly or indirectly affecting the purchase price or sale price. Let's say a thermal power generators came together and decided to buy coal at fixed price. This decision is going to affect the coal miners and kills the competition. Or if agreements made between cement sellers not to sell cement below the fixed price, here they are fixing sale price. Such decisions made to fix purchase price or sale price are considered as or presumed to have appreciable adverse effect on competition. Any agreement, the next one is any agreement made to control production, supply, markets, technical development, investments or provision of services are presumed to have appreciable adverse effect on competition. Let's say to increase the price of the particular product, the producer of that particular product limit the production. This makes product costly in the market. The C point is shapes the market or sources of production or provision of services by way of allocation of geographical area of market or type of goods or services or number of customers in the market or any other similar way. So dividing the market on the basis of types of goods, services, customers are presumed to have appreciable adverse effect on competition. Example, two car manufacturers came together and decided to share market on the basis of product. Let's say one manufacturer decided to manufacture only sedan cars and other manufacturer decided to manufacture only SUVs to rule on particular product. So let's see the next point. The next point is directly or indirectly results in bid rigging or collusive bidding shall be presumed to have an appreciable adverse effect on competition. Here bid means where companies are required to competitively bid on contract. That is very common in market, but bid rigging is an illegal process where competitors allow one or others to win a competitive bid in rotation. Such agreements are presumed to have an appreciable adverse effect on competition. Okay, appreciable adverse effect on competition. Okay, let's move on to the next subsection, that is subsection 4. Any agreement made at different stage levels of production chain in different market in respect of production, supply, distribution, storage, sale or price of or trade in goods or provision of services including tie-in arrangements. Here tie-in arrangements means, let's say you bought Hyundai car. With the purchase of car, you are mandated to purchase only ICICI Lombard insurance. Here, there is a tie-in arrangement. You are forcibly I mean forcibly you have to go for ICICI Lombard insurance. So this situation is called tie-in arrangement. And the second one is exclusive supply agreement. If a businessman made an agreement with raw material supplier not to sell raw material to anyone else, such types of agreements are restricting a supply. Then the third one is exclusive distribution agreement. Any agreements which restricts to distribute goods to any allocated area or market. And the fourth and the D point is refusal to deal. Any agreement which puts restriction not to deal with classes of person. Then the last E point says that resale price maintenance, fixing price so not to sell below that price. So these type of agreement cause an appreciable adverse on competition in India. Subsection 5 says nothing contained in this section shall restrict. Till subsection 4 there was an restriction on making agreements, but subsection 5 says restriction on agreement allowed in IPR Act and export business. So here IPR Act, IPR means intellectual property rights. So under IPR Act, the restriction on agreements are allowed. So these are all these are all come under IPR Acts. The Copyright Act 1957, the Patent Act 1970, the Trade and Merchandise Marks Act 1958. So these are all comes under IPR Acts, and there is no restriction on making agreement in export business.